Nation.
SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first. Then you act.
We got a stat sheet. Got a stat sheet? Thanks, man. I don't even know who did what. I just know he killed us the first half. You know, it was a weird game. I mean, give Michigan credit. They came out and put it right to us. I mean, we looked out of sync. I don't know if we were nervous. I don't know what we were. We had a great couple days of practice, and they played well, and I thought we played poorly. And I didn't think our energy was there. I think we made mistakes. Talked about turnovers. They had a 12-5 edge at halftime. I mean, I think what won the game for us is only being down 6 at halftime, because that thing could have been 16. And that was a big difference in the game. You know, we talked about it at halftime. I thought my 4 best players were all in the fog. And, you know, part of that was Michigan and part of that was us. And but the atmosphere in there, you know, John's right. I mean, this should be the last game every year, here or there. Maybe we'll work into that, because it was a hell of a basketball game, an electric crowd, and they made a lot of shots the first half. They didn't make as many shots the second half. We did a better job the second half. It was a hard-fought win. The score is not indicative of the game, and yet I'm proud of my guys. I really am, because at halftime, I wasn't proud of them. I just didn't think we did the things that you need to do in a big game like this, and I'm going to figure out why. But for tonight and tomorrow, I don't even care why. Enjoy this one like I've not enjoyed any. And the only thing I'm bummed out about, and I'll tell you all because I really screwed up and I'm going to kill my people for it, but Jimmy Boylan and Sean Resper were going to come over because they played tomorrow at the Pistons so early. Jimmy couldn't make it, and I thought Sean couldn't make it, you know, and he was the original guy that kissed Spartan head. And here he was there, he celebrated with us after, and I didn't know it in time to thank him to the crowd. So I just want to say it publicly that, you know, Sean started a tradition that now is like no other. And, you know, for him and Smitty and those guys to come back was special. So questions?
Tom, it's the school's 14th Big Ten title, your 9th, but with a team with your only McDonald's All-American on a cart, did the grit of this team make it even more special?
It really did, you know. I mean, it's been, you know, I don't want to over-complain or under-complain about it, but it has been something that they've had to reinvent. My staff did an unbelievable job, because every week it was just trying to find new ways. I thought Michigan did a very good job today. They changed up their ball screen defense. It took us a while to adjust to it. Great move on their part, and but I think it was. I think it'll go down as one of the more special ones, just because of the fact that it was the last game for a championship against your rival on senior night. That kind of fills all the boxes.
Tom, when you look at the job that Cassius did, foul trouble in the first half, and then he comes out in the second half. Could you tell that were his knees bothering him a little bit with some of his stuff, or I
don't think so. I mean, his knees were the other day, but I think I think Michigan was bothering him the first half, along with a bunch of our other guys. I really do. You know, and I said at halftime we had a character check, and the character check was, you know, are we going to play for a championship in front of our own house and not play with the same energy we practiced with? And you know, Cash had that first turnover of the game layup, you know, but boy, you know, like the reason he is, to me, the most valuable player in this league is because when it was winning time, he really made some winning plays, and that's what great players do. He did it, and proud of him, really proud of him.
Tom, can you talk about how resilient this team was in this game and has been all season?
It's kind of a microcosm of the year, wasn't it? The way the game went and the way the year went, and yet, you know, as I said to my team in a meeting last night, you know, we've lost 6 games, and 3 of those games we led late, 4 of them actually, and we didn't win many that we shouldn't have won. So this team has been pretty consistent. The reason I think they've been consistent is their defense, and that's, Michigan just torched it the first half, and so again, some of it was their great shooting, some of it was our poor defense, but I think that's why we've hung in there. We've been about as solid a defensive team for one that I didn't think would be a great defensive team, and I guess that credit goes to my staff and those players.
Tom, the rebounding has been kind of a thing for a little while here. They only get 4 offensive rebounds, 3 maybe.
Yeah.
You guys control the glass. How important was that tonight? McKinney again, I think has 16 rebounds.
Well, I didn't even see the rebound totals. Is that a good coach? I complain about it every day, and I didn't even look at it. So it kind of shows you where I am. But that was a great deal there to out-rebound them like we did, and I think it is a big difference. Got our break going a little bit, but I still don't think we're playing our best, and I say that only because we're still turning the ball over and just doing some things that aren't going to serve well in the tournaments coming up. But we'll try to correct that, like we've tried to correct a lot of other things.
Tom, you talked about the 6-point halftime gap there. You kind of rolled the dice with Foster in there for a while once Cassius went down, and McQuaid a little bit as well. Just what was your decision making at that point to go with Foster, stick with him after the timeout, and how that last?
I just felt the way they were driving the ball that it was going to be chaos for Cash, and I really believed that. So we made the decision we made. Kind of forced us. I didn't think anybody was playing great anyway, and to his credit, boy, in the huddles and that, Cassius was phenomenal, and that's what I've really learned to appreciate about him. He's growing so much as a player and in every way, and that was the difference in the game, because that thing could have got away to be 12-14, and instead going in 6 was big difference.
Coach, you had to clear a lot of hurdles this year after that loss to Indiana. What did you tell your team about making the most of second chances for this championship tonight?
Well, I told them when Purdue went up to, and talk about a guy who's done a hell of a job, Matt Painter, when they were like 6-7 or 7-6. Matt's done an unbelievable job. It's kind of a joy that both of us have had some adversity, and maybe we share this championship together. But when they went up there, I didn't know if Minnesota could beat them, but I honestly felt, because we had played good enough, even against Indiana, both times we led, and that we played good enough that we deserved a chance to try to win it. But I really did, and I'm not like that very often. I don't like when I need somebody else's help, but that's the way it was, and maybe it's deserving that 2 teams that went through some different things this year, the job he did there, John did a hell of a job there. There are 3 teams that have been above the rest all year, and in a league that's awfully good, and I think all 3 of these teams have a chance to move on in the tournament.
Tom, you said you guys were kind of lacking a little something, and there was that time, like you're talking about, when Winston was out, and there was a critical moment. Was Kyle Arns an unsung hero tonight, playing 15 minutes, and he had that drive where he landed on the deck and probably hurt himself?
Oh, you can see the pain, couldn't you?
And then how'd your bench react to that? He slapped him.
They were so fired up for him in the next huddle, and you talk about a guy with some grit now. That guy, we couldn't even practice him. He was almost decided that we wouldn't play him, and I just felt like I needed a guy who was a threat to shoot and could do some things, and the admiration I have for him. Nick at halftime, we put Nick's name in the book just in case, a couple guys went down. I told you if I did play him, I would have taped it shut so nothing could happen to his hand, but just in case I needed somebody defensively. And I'm walking in and he says, "Coach, let me play, I'll suit up, let me play," and those kind of things mean a lot to a coach. I had to tell him, "No, I'm not letting you." I almost gave in, but I didn't. And I'm just proud. I'm proud of Josh, the way he handled things. We got a special group, It's not the most talented group I've had, but it is a group that really gets along, plays well together. I'm damn proud of them.
Tom, in your opening statement, you said that you've enjoyed this one like
sort of stopped yourself. You
Yeah, I haven't done see him do that.
I
I'd have to say like no other. And the only reason I say that is because of the uniqueness of the situation, you know. I always tell my guys, you know, you got to try to leave some mark here. You know, yeah, it's easy to leave a mark of you know, winning the Big Ten or going to a Final Four. Those are all marks. Or winning the Big Ten tournament's a mark. But this group did something no other group has done. You know, they won a Big Ten championship on senior night against their rival. So just another one that I check the box on, you know, and someday they'll be remembered for that. And it's always cool when guys leave doing something that no one else has done. At least it's cool to me. And I mean, that was the atmosphere in there, the way Michigan played so good the first half. That was a hell of a game, you know, and I'm sure they're disappointed because, you know, it just kind of seemed like when things started going wrong, they snowballed. But a lot of respect for both programs, and but a lot of respect for mine from the standpoint of we've been grinding all year. That's what we are. We're a blue-collar team that's going to stay blue-collar until the day I walk out of this building. I'm proud of them for that.
Kenny Goins started his career as a walk-on, ended it cutting down the nets on senior night. What's impressed you about his journey?
Everything. You know, he's done so many things, you know. It was like, was it his sophomore year when he had 16 or 18 rebounds and no points against Louisville? You know, who the hell does that? That's a memory maker. I bet you nobody else in the history of this school will do that. So Kenny's got his own stamp, but the way he's improved his shooting, my staff and he all deserve credit for that. The way he, not a real confident kid, started getting more confidence, became one of our best defensive players. I think Kenny Goins has been good in so many areas. You know, his rebounding has been solid all year, but it's the shooting now. It's the way he can switch and do things. He can guard a point guard to a center. Those guys are versatile guys, boy, and those guys are valuable.
Tom, because Winston is so good and dominates the ball in so many ways, do we sometimes overlook the guys that you just mentioned, Tillman and Goins, and do they ever feel overlooked, or have they just stepped into those roles effortlessly?
You know what? They love Cash. I mean, because the one thing about Cash, if you're open, he's getting you the ball. You know, I mean, he's not taking 20 shots a game. I mean, he probably took more than he's taken in a long time, getting 17, and I think he's averaging 12 and a half shots a game, you know, which isn't much for a star. And so I don't think at all they look at it like that. They don't say, oh, he's dribbling around and he's doing this and he's doing that. They appreciate him. I mean, we can go practices, he won't even take a shot. And sometimes I'm chewing him up for, I did the first half. I thought he passed up 2 or 3 shots. And then he took a bad one, you know, and I said, listen, you're open, you're shooting. And so I don't think so, Bob, at all. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think they have such an appreciation for his ability to find people and get the ball to people, along with being a great scorer. I mean, it's hard to do that, taking as few as shots as he does and averaging 20 points. He's got to be one of the more efficient players I've had. And even Sean Respert, who's now in the pros, you know, he just said, wow, that's the word he used. He's very efficient.
Tom, what does this championship rank, being that you did it without 2 of your starters?
Well, it means that we had some guys step up, because the guys that stepped up weren't as good as the 2 we lost. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. But they just kind of rallied like a team, you know, like you're supposed to rally. I mean, you know, I don't want to get sappy, but every Michigan State alum should be proud of this team, because to me they stood for everything our university stands for, you know, a blue-collar place, land-grant institution for everybody, and everybody helped in this win. And you know, I promised myself I'm going to do it George Perlis. I'm going to enjoy this for a whole 24 hours. They bet me that I'd watch the film tonight at 2. My team is losing that bet. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to enjoy it for 24 hours.
Tom mentioned the guys that have stepped up. Aaron Henry tonight, both defensively and just the hustle plays that he was providing for you guys. It seemed like that was a bit of a difference maker and a spark.
Yeah, I thought he really came on and did some good things, you know, and early on he hits the three, but then he kind of struggled through a couple stretches, and Michigan did some good things, how they played him, and, you know, we were making some adjustments on the run too, and it was, I really have a better feel for all my NBA buddies that tell me that the most exciting thing about pro ball is the playoffs and how you have to have these chess matches when they're best of sevens. You know, we don't get to do that in college. And today, for John and I, was a miniature chess match. You know, we had to figure out what we could do different. I thought he made better moves than I did, and it really hurt us the first half, but, you know, it worked out in our advantage at the end.
Was Xavier defensively, and just some of the plays he was able to make and how active he was that, would you say those were great individual efforts on his part, or was there a scheme or game plan type of thing that allowed him to sort of be that active?
Trying to figure out how to politely answer this. X is my most cerebral, toughest, hardest working guy, and I thought the first half, I asked him what planet he was on. You know, Pluto, Mars, Venus, UP, where in the hell are you? You know, I mean, some of the things we wanted to do, he struggled with. Even in the second half, some uncharacteristic to him. But he started going to work then, and we started saying we're going to get the ball inside a little more. The free throws he made, the rebounds, started playing a little better defensively. We had some problems the way they were screening us in that. They were using guards and the screen down the bigs, and we were getting clipped and caught. And again, you know, good job by them, and we made some adjustments, and X played better. But the first half, I guess he was in the doghouse. It's a big doghouse for X, though, a really big one, you know, but it wasn't, I thought his best half, and yet what does he end up with? What did he end up with here? 17 points, 8 rebounds, 9 for 12 from the line, 4 for 5 from the field. Just goes to prove why maybe I'm on a different planet, you know. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong.
I want to, little guy back here. I want to go back, my memories, I'm old, but you had a meeting, it was either after the Illinois loss or after Ward went down, and you had a meeting at 7 in the morning. I don't know why the hell you had it, but it was about, get your head out of your ends, we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves, and we're going to win this thing without those guys. What did that have to do with you being here tonight?
You know, I think, honestly, that was an important meeting. I told my staff I'm having a meeting early. They weren't happy, everybody's happy, and we had won the game, but we lost Nick, and I just said I had to set the narrative because I was feeling sorry for myself, so maybe the speech was more to me than to them. And it was so well received. And I left there, I felt like we can get this done. So, you know, once in a while you have these kind of meetings or talks, and once in a while they really mean something. I think that meeting had a lot to do with tonight. I really do.
Tom, earlier this week we were talking to Cash, and I asked him about being in this position, and if there was doubt, and he said, yeah, but Coach told us we would be here. And he was totally 100% serious. He goes, when a Hall of Famer tells you that, he knew.
I told him to play better defense the first half. They told me to go to hell, so I don't know what that means. You know, but I would say that that was all dealing with that meeting, you know, because I did tell him. I said, we can win this thing, you know. We got a good enough team. We're as good defensive. Our defensive numbers have been phenomenal all year. And that was my first point today on my speech to my guys pregame was, I always tell you defense wins championships. Well, most college guys don't want to hear that anymore. They don't want to shoot the ball, you know. I said, finally I can prove to you that defense wins championships. And I don't know what Michigan ended up shooting, 40%, but they were shooting like 65 most of the first half. And when we bared down, we probably held them to 30-some in the second half. And that was a big difference in the game. So that morning, we talked about it. We said we're going to probably have to shore up. I also did a little thing where I put the numbers down of each player and what we're missing with Nick and what we're missing with Josh and what we're missing with, I think it was Arnie at the time. And I just said, we're not going to make up all of them, but I gave them a way we could. You got to get 3 more. You got to get 2 more. We got to hold teams to maybe 5 less. And I just kind of went with it was a whim, you know, it was, like I said, maybe it was a pep talk for me, but I look back, the way they received it, pretty cool.
But back to my question,
Oh,
Tom,
sorry.
you've preached for years about guys listening. Is this the best listening team you've ever had?
You know, all kidding aside, I have pretty good listening teams because, you know, we argue, there's so many teams. I looked at so many guys that were out there that were former players, KT, T, Steve Smith, and I think back. But I would have to say it is one of my best listening teams. You know what I have on this team? A lot of guys that want to please you. And sometimes that means a little softer maybe, you know. Sometimes you need some guy that's going to come back at you. But these guys were pleasers, plus they were guys that I think trusted and believed, you know. And I mean, I think back to all the guys. Just last week, Johnny Green talked to him. You know, Magic and Kelser talked to him during that thing. Stevens talked to him. Martinez talked to him. I brought in a lot of guys this year. And I think there was a trust. It was like a program trust. And that's pretty cool. In fact, that's really cool. And maybe that's the reason. But yeah, I'd have to admit it is one of our better listening teams.
Tom, Michigan beat you twice last year, and they went to the championship game. And you've been doing this a long time. You keep ratcheting it up and everything. But their success, has it pushed you? Has it pushed your program? Is it more motivated because of Michigan's success?
You know, about 20 years ago, I was so obsessed. Boy, your wife's still calling you. All these press conferences, she called you on every one of them, man. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure we will. But 20 years ago, it was such an obsession that that's all I thought about. And it wasn't healthy. And so now, sure, my rival's important, you know, but I got a lot of goals that have nothing to do with my rival either. You know, this program means the world to me. I mean, I always tell players, I don't want you to like it, I don't want you to love it, I want you to live it. I told my team today, I live for this day. This is what I live for. And so because of that, anybody who wins, you know, and I mean, I respect the job John has done there, and I don't get motivated because they had success. I get motivated because we didn't have enough success. That's what motivates me. And but I think sometimes you can get so obsessed with certain things like I've done in the past that it's not good. Everybody knows that this is an important rivalry to me. I think it is to him. But I just want to keep this program at a level that is respected by all. That's what I want to do.
Take one final one.
Yeah, Michigan started this game hot, 5 of 8 from 3, and they ended 8 of 22, and they shot 31% in the second half, like you mentioned. Did you do anything in particular defensively to kind of slow and curb that, or did they just kind of cool off?
Well, I think they were hotter than hot the first half. I haven't seen them make those kind of shots, so there's always a happy in between. But yeah, we did one important thing in the second half. We tried to guard them a little bit, you know, because we didn't do a very good job of that the first half. And yet I think they cooled off a little bit too. I mean, they had some shots that didn't fall, you know. I mean, we had some shots that didn't fall. And playing a game like that, but that place might have had something to do with it second half. Those people got behind us. I mean, that place was I'm sure some of you that have been with me, or Greg, you've been here forever. The place was like old times. I mean, not that it hasn't been good, but it was phenomenal. And that was fun. That part of it was fun. And so I appreciate what our fans, the students that came back, gave up a day or two of their spring break. And just special things that I love the place. So hey, thank you. Like I said, hell of a game. Maybe this will be a Duke, Kentucky thing, or Carolina thing. By the way, who won that game? Carolina. So maybe it will be someday.
You had to bring it up.
I had to bring it up.